Here, let me quickly set the context before we start. On this channel, we look at horse racing through data, race structure, and risk, not tips or hype. Instead of jumping straight to who will win, we slow things down and first ask, which runners cannot win and why? You'll see an Excel sheet on screen during the stream. Think of this as the engine that runs the analysis here. It's a proprietary model we've developed to understand how a race is shaped, not just who looks good on a race card. By combining pressure, pace, distance, class, and competition, the engine helps us see where a race is stable and where forcing a pick would be risky. When the signals line up, we act. When they don't, the engine tells us to step back and explain the risk instead. You can use the timestamps below to follow the analysis race by race. Welcome to the Grandstand Gazette, data-driven horse racing analysis, educational use only. No betting advice, full disclaimer in the description.
Good morning. Today is 19th of August 2026 and we're going to be doing some analytics today here at Warwick Farm. Now Warwick Farm is in New South Wales. This is not one of the top 10 or one of the top 20 tracks in Australia. There are serious concerns about this particular track. Now the first reason why we are here today, well, that is because of a mistake, because I thought it is going to be raining at Sandown and it was showing soft 7. I stayed out of that. Queensland was also showing something on similar lines. So I stayed out of that. And I kept this one. But this track is a triangle track. The reason why it is not among the top 10, top 20 tracks is because of the shape of the track. Okay. Any track which is in triangle in shape, that track has tactical difficulties. And this is one of them. The ground reading is soft. The last finishing mile is about 300 to 350 approximately. A little less than 350, I believe. And we've got about 7 races here today. And we'll see what we can do here. But one thing that needs to be mentioned, that this track is a triangle shape. Things do go wrong in a triangle shaped track because of the geometry of the track. Okay. Welcome to Grandstand, and we do horse racing analytics, and we do that in 2 steps. First, we try and identify the best horses through physics, mathematics, a little bit of understanding of horse racing. And once we have identified the best horses, that's when we take a look at the horses at the paddock or at the gates when we get the live stream from the paddock or the gates. If we find that all the horses that we have chosen are looking good and good to go with, we wait for the results to validate them. But if we find that there are better horses at the paddock, we often give it a shout out and highlight those things. One key things before we start getting into races, we are not a tips channel. We are a data analytics platform, which is trying to be a software. We are building in public. Our errors are in public. Whatever mistakes we are making, that is in public. We try to make improvements. We try to eliminate those errors and try again until and unless we get the results with the data. So this basically is a place where we are building the backbone, the back end of the software, which should give us the results every time without making an error. So that's what we are trying to build, and this is a building in public session. So we will be making mistakes. Datas are going to be wrong. Everything is going to be a part of this. So we'll take a look at the first race, which is an 1100 meter 3-year-old maiden, and see what the market is saying. 2512 has been scratched. 2512 has been scratched. 7164. 7164. Okay, so the 7 is the favorite. Now, so there are a couple of things that we have identified in our previous races, and we will see how that works, because certain things have to be um, kept in mind so that we do not make the same mistake again. And if we do, then we need to look for what is the reason. Okay. So what we have identified is if it is an 1100 meter, 1000 meter, 1200 meter, this load is kind of a difficult load, right? And it generally doesn't work for the 1100 meters and 1200 meters. Now, does that depend on gate numbers? It does. So now let's understand what are the problems with 7. Can 7 win? Yes, 7 can win, right? 7 can win. But what are the ups and what are the downs? So numerically, 7 can win, but at the end of the day, the problem is this, that it is a 54.5. Okay, it is going to be carrying 54.5. The rest is on the jock, and then it is going to be running neutral. That's a dicey proposition, but that gets negotiated when we have a tendency like that gets negotiated. So that is not the primary problem. The primary problem is the load on the jock. Okay, so that's the primary problem. The secondary problem, if we look at the revised weight or the relative weight on this horse, that's much less. Okay, that is much less than the 61 on the same category. But when we talk about the 61 here, which is on the same category, this horse has not, it does not have any races. It is the first time that it is going to be racing. So that assumption could be a little dicey, okay? Because what happens basically? So this is the category or the relative weight or how things might work is all on probability. All right, there's a thing called probability, Now, this might be the probability or it might not be the probability. But whether it is the probability, that needs to be proven by the horse. And it is too early to, be able to judge whether that is the right probability. I mean, a horse which has never raced, that has been put into the top category because of the jock, that is kind of a little overestimation. All right, so that's that. Now we take a look at 10 and 11. Can they do it? Obviously they can. The numbers are there. Even they can do it. Can 6 do it? This is where it gets a little dicey. Probably not. 6 probably not, cannot win. But how this thing can backfire? So how this thing can backfire is this, that they are all on probabilities. They are higher. This is lower. But they are on probability. And this is a negative leverage. Can 3 do it? Of course, 3 is the linear. All right. 3 can 3 do it? Very well. Can do it. Can 1 do it? Again, that's a horse which has never been into any races, and this is the first time. That is, again, it could be an overestimation. So what are the things that might work in our favor and might not work in our favor? So there are a couple of things that we know about 7, that the problem is jockey weight, which is definitely higher for an 1100 meter. And the relative weight is lower. Okay, that's something that we have 2 points against 7. 4, God knows what it is. 10, 11, God knows what it is. 6, through the data, it is difficult to win. But if all of the others, they go upside down, then 6 can win. 3 is in a very bad shape. 1 is, again, an estimation because this thing has never run. 9 has been put into a category where there is not much expectation from that horse. Then we come to 8. Can 8 do it? That's a very scary proposal because this thing is a negative leverage 7, all right? This is a leverage of negative 7. 3. Can it do it? Technically, yes. That can also do it. It has 1 race. It did not do anything. Expectation is it is a very bad. Expectation is it is very bad. But now we look at what are the odds against this. Okay, so this is a relative weight 59, which is a higher than this. Okay, which never raced. It is lower than this, which is never raced. It is lower than this, which has raced, but it is in a very bad state. It is higher than 6. It is higher than 11. It is higher than 10. It is lower than 4, but then 4 could be an overestimation. Okay, and that is getting into EW. This is a power model, like 9, like the 6. Okay, this is a power model. So we'll keep an eye on the 8 and see what happens to 8. But that's more or less how it stands. Okay, can 7 win? Dicey. Can 4 win? Those are with the jockey loads. Maybe, may not be. But 6 is the only one which is going to have a very difficult time winning. All right. But how that thing can work is everything. I mean, these are on probabilities. These are on, like, God knows what they are. They've never had a race. If we compare 6 with 7, then 7 is struggling. This is also struggling. Okay. But 7 has better numbers. This one has bad numbers. One tactically is the one is a good one. Why? Because this and this, they are in the same category. All right, they are in the same category on the revised weight, but it has been put into the first category, and this is in the second category. So this maybe, but those are all estimation without any valid logical delivery from the horses. These horses have never raced 4, 10, 11, 1, 9. They have never raced. The only horse that actually raced is this one, the 7, 2 races, the 6, 3 races, the 3, 1 race, and the 8, 1 race. We'll see how that works.
Fours into 310 this morning, now into favourite. But look, she showed a lot of promise early on, lost her way for a year or so, but back with Joe Pride now in Sydney, and I thought the trials have been great. So no surprise to see that market support come this morning, and I think she's a nice horse, and she might show that today off some fast drives.
Race number 1 over the 1100 metres, Davo. Profitable into $2.80 has been quite well fancied for Bjorn Baker's team. Same thing the second line of betting though. Blessed Eagle, the Waterhouse and Bot Camp. Nice speed there from the trials into 320.
Yeah, he was one I should have had him, but I don't have in the top 4 there. But I thought tried really well, Blessed Eagle, so I can't really knock it. It wasn't a major knock. I just liked a couple of odds that I've been following from the trials, so I sort of threw them in there at odds. But with Profitable, I think it's a bit of a D-Day for her somewhat, Tim. She's always promised plenty at the trials, but hasn't really shown too much on race day yet. Ran well on debut at Randwick, and then the Millennium Barrier 1 didn't suit that day. But yeah, she's got to bring it to race day, and I think that's why she's a bit of a drifter here. But like the way she's been trialling up. Artemex, I've got a bit of time for. I thought another one who's trialled quite nicely leading into this preparation and might be able to sort of turn his fortunes around. They threw him in a deep end in a golden gift on debut where he started $3.70. For Watson's Bay, I was just sort of thinking Coolmore, Waller, McDonald, soft enough trials. I sort of watched the market there, but the market's saying no, so you could easily have Blessed Eagle there instead of him. And this horse, Saffron Vale, I think will be the best horse out of the race, Tim. 1100 metres is going to be probably too short for her. But I think once she gets to sort of 13 to a mile, she's related to Communist by memory, and just love the way she's been going about it at the trials. I backed her a few weeks ago when she was in at 1200 metres. They scratched, and they decided to land here today at 1100. So I think she's a really nice horse. Today might not be her day, but keep an eye on her doing her best work late.
All right, they're over the 1100 metres there for the first Wednesday racing offer here at Warwick Farm. Also Sandown Lakeside and up at Ipswich. Races 1 to 4. You can boost your winnings if you find one with your first fixed.
Gate, welcome back, Gate.
Those winnings boosted by in bonus bets. Races 1 to 4. All
6,
three
7, 1, 4.
those big venues up and down the East Coast. Getting set, race number 1, Warwick Farm, 1,100 metres. Now equal favourites, Blessed Eagle and Profitable. Let's get there with Darren Flindell.
They're pulling the trigger today. But clearly, Blessed Eagle's the one in the betting. Blessed Eagle is into $3.10. Joint favourite now with Profitable. So things have really changed in the last 5 minutes betting-wise. Blessed Eagle to move in along with Ghostbuster. The plunge horse, Blessed Eagle, will be one of the last to move in, and Profitable. Profitable actually will draw the outside of Blessed Eagle. Profitable were pretty good at the trials at Rose Hill on the 7th of August. So she moves in the hands of Tom Berry. So joint favourites here, $3.10 apiece.
We'll see how
Blessed Eagle and Profitable for the first of 7 at Warwick Farm. And we're on a soft 6 today. And this is a good quality program ahead. And the weather has certainly warmed up as well, considerably. Now, Blessed Eagle has gone in, and Ghostbuster now is the last to move in. Ghostbuster, they're just working on, just buzzing up a bit there behind the barriers. And has Ghostbuster gone in as yet, just digging the toes in a bit. Still waiting on Ghostbuster. Right, it's in now. Stand by. Racing about to get underway at Warwick Farm, the 3-year-old maiden. Stand by. The 2 favourites drawn wider out here. Blessed Eagle and Profiteer. Waiting for Ghostbuster to settle. Looks calm now. Gates are back, they're off. Blessed Eagle hit the gates running. Profitable jumped equally as well on the outside, about a half length away. Ghostbuster there. Artemex goes to 4th. They're followed next then by Jammed, improving on the rails. In advance of Secrets Within. Then came Watson's Bay, Saffron Vale. And Darn New settled down at the rear of the field. Blessed Eagle shows the way from Profitable. So the 2 favourites are right there from the start. Jammed is pushing through on the inside of Artemex, followed by Ghostbuster. Saffron Vale makes ground on the rails from Secrets Within, Watson's Bay, and 2 lengths away to Darn New. Blessed Eagle shows the way by 3/4 to Profitable. They've got out by 3 lengths now on Artemex. Then Ghostbuster to the outside, and Saffron Vale is starting to slice through the pack into the straight now. And Blessed Eagle is being tested by Profitable on the outside, and Profitable moved up to join Blessed Eagle. Saffron Vale's running on stoutly. It's Profitable, Blessed Eagle. Profitable trying to beat off Blessed Eagle. Blessed fights back. Saffron Vale one very late. I think he just missed.
No, 110.
Blessed Eagle just from Saffron Vale and Profitable. Good finish here to the first race of the day. Followed in by Darn New hitting the line well. Then came Artemex from Secrets Within, Watson's Bay. Then came Ghostbuster, and Jan was last in.
4.
I reckon Blessed Eagle is going to do just enough to stick the nose out there in race.
110, 7, 4. So what happened? 1 won. This 8 was actually bad. With that kind of a negative leverage, the 1 was good. The 1 was good. So they generally don't work, okay? on the 1100 meters, 1200 meters, they don't work. So the 1 was the right odd. This was climbing on the opposite direction, but that actually paid off. So we'll go to the next. Huge scratching, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 15. 16, 17, 20. I scratched all of them. I hope the gate numbers are right. 3 is 9, 7 is 20, 8 is 7. I hope the gate numbers are right. 14, 13, 19, and 9. 14, 13, 19, and 9. 14 probably is the right odd. Okay, 14 probably is the right odd. So here is what is happening. So those are first and the second linear. It's a 300 meters, 1300 meters. So those are that. This one is from very wide gate, 18. All right. From there, it is dicey. Now, there is a chance about 3, but that can again go wrong. Why? Because the 9 is there to talk to the 3. Okay, the 9 is there to talk to the 3. The 9 is on a very high relative weight. This is 2.5. This is 3. Though it is on the opposite direction. Okay, so those are like dicey at this point of time because it is still a maiden. Things could be overestimated. Any one of those can come in between. I would like the 3 more, but why? Because it is on the opposite direction, but numerically it can. Okay, numerically it can. 14 is the right odd. The rest, everything could go wrong. For example, the 13 is very wide. 9 is near, but I mean 3 is near, which is gate number 9. But then the 9 is going to talk. So if that happens, and if the opposite direction works, because it is still higher, okay, that's 2.5, it is 3. So if it is higher, and then that's that, then probably things can go wrong with 3. Okay, so that's that, but ideally that's where it is. And in that case, what happens? In that case, we have a few more, like the 12. The 10, 8. So that is also possible. So these two are on opposite direction. Okay, these two are on opposite direction, but both of them numerically are possible. But the point is this, that they are on the opposite direction. So everybody is going to be on pace. They are going to be trying out the slow race, probably because that is how they have been weighted. Okay, so I don't think 14 has an issue. 14 will not be an issue. That's the highest category horse. It is a 1300. This time the jockey load should work. It is the linear. That should not have a problem. 13 will have an issue from gate number 18. It is good. There is no doubt it is good. But Then if we look at the categories, then these are on the same categories. Okay? These are all on the same categories. If that's that, then the 10 from gate number 12 has advantage, which is good if they are on the same. Okay, then that's the one. One 1.5 or 1.5 here. So that turns 0. So that is gate number 12. Then obviously between these two, which are on the same, the 7 is good, which is a higher relative weight, but comes from gate number 20, which is an issue. So in that case, this 18, which has got 5 races and is a negative leverage 14, is there. So we strike both of them out because they're both dicey. Then comes these two horses, which are on the opposite direction. Okay. Out of which 9 is definitely better. So how things might work. So I don't think these two horses will be able to do anything good. Both of them has their own reasons. In this particular category, they both of them are in trouble. Why? Because this one is from gate number 11, which is good, but that's a negative leverage 14. Absolutely disastrous. Has got 5 races, did nothing in the last 5 races. What kind of a leverage will it get? And then this one is higher, which is good, but comes from gate number 20. So that is bad. Between these two horses, obviously the 9 is better. So how things might work. So if we do not talk about these two, 18 and 7 are out, probably. Then that's a leverage. This is a negative leverage. This is 60. This is the reason it has been put into 52. All right, the category. That's the reason. But why that thing has been put into a higher category is where my judgment fails, probably because of something that I don't know. So that is that. So 9 is good. 14 should win. Then out here, if we do the right thing, then so they're all in the second category horses. 0.5, 18, this is 9, this is even further 12, but possible. Possibly. It is right after the 13, okay? If you do the maths, 3.5 minus 1, 2.5, and 2.5 minus 0 stays 2.5. So this basically numerically, the 13 is the right one, but it is gate number 18, and then it is this one, so that 10 probably is in between. Okay, that 10 probably is in between, but the 10 is going to be talking to who? So that's 59 from gate number 12. So that is going to be talking to 2.5 on a 0, then it comes 3 on a 0. So 9 comes second. 14, 9, 10, 3. 14 is the top notch. The first category, linear. Ideally, what should happen? It should play high pressure, low pressure. So we know the linear. Ideally, it should drop on 9, but then climb. So climb would be here on 3 and drop would be on 10. Why? Because that will be the disadvantage on the gate number. Okay. This is also 15, this is also 15, this is also 15, this is also 15, 30, 30. So they're the same. Difference is this, that it is from an inner gate. This is from a wider gate. Okay. This is again from an inner gate. So if we do the right mathematics, then this is the high pressure. Should drop on 9, climb on 3 because of the gate, nothing else. 10 can very well be the 3. And then 10. So 14, 9, 10 and 3, or 3 or 10, something on those lines will happen. But 9 is probably the next. This is wide, very wide. It will have issues. It is a lower relative weight than 19 is 3, but has 2 races, did nothing. It is unnecessarily going into trouble. It is very unnecessarily going into trouble. We'll see how that works. Dabs, Tuna, welcome back, my friend. Dabs, welcome back, my friend. Listen, sunshine for 200. Yeah, the big money came late for the one uh, because of the betting pattern, because of how people actually do wagering on this. 90% of the people will think, you know, so there are believers and there are doers. Now, 90% of the doers on the betting, okay, they believe the top performing horse. They think the top performing horse is going to win. That will drive the odds. The second line is the believers who believe the first line, who believes the performance is going to win. From the third onwards, people actually work. That is from the third layer. The first two layer is all bogus. The first two layer is all people who think that, oh, this house has been winning, so this thing is going to win. The second lot of people, I mean, the second group of people, they will believe the first group of people because they have moved that horse into the favorite. The third group of people who actually does a little work, they are the ones who actually make some sense.
Davidson betting says, I'm going to say a smart one here, Satin Serenade's been smashed into the $1.35.
Yeah, it's been well backed, hasn't it, Tim? And look, she's a filly who's got a bit of a boom on her, I think it's fair to say. She ran second behind Miss Scandal on debut at Canterbury last preparation, hit the line really well, and the overall time in the race was good. And Miss Scandal was a horse that had always tried like a nice one, so I think that form looks good. James McDonald interviewed, I caught an interview with him last week, I'm not sure where it was, but they asked him, is there a horse outside of any established ones that we can follow maybe in the spring that's going to really jump out of the woodworks? And this was the filly he mentioned, Satin Serenade. So, look, her trials have been pretty good. Market suggests she's awfully hard to beat, and I agree. I think Queen's Gamble was really good first up, and then second up, got back off a hot speed, looked the winner and just got collared by one late. I think that horse might be pretty good, though. That would have been second favourite today at 1400, but they scratched. So, again, I think that form looks all right. Looks the danger for me. 19 Whitehall resumes, trial well enough and maps to get a good run. And the 9 Wendell did a good job first up and should only improve second up for the Waterhouse and Botyard. But look, I think she picks herself. I do think probably a little bit under the odds, just simply from the fact there is that boom there. I thought she was still a bit new and raw in her trials, Tim. So got to go out and do the job. But, yeah, look, J-Mac definitely got a high opinion of her.
All right, we're just about to hit official jump time. 150 into $1.33. Ticks back to the 140. Satin Serenade moves in for preparation number 2. Start number 2 now, 3-year-old filly. J-Mac jumps aboard. Let's get there with Darren Flindell.
And one of the better back runners at a price, Albert Palais, is now under 11. So they're moving in well. Moving in for the second, the Inglis Extra Bonus Handicap. And after scratchings, there are 6 runners up for the extra bonus. Comanche Chief, Power Broker, Albert Palais, Queen's Gamble, the second favourite. She's a boom in the debutante Whitehall. So we're close to action now. Blessed Eagle landed very good bets to win the first from Saffron Vale. Terrific debut by that filly. Another stride and she wins it. Righto, the light's on. We're set to go. Ready for the Inglis Extra Bonus Maiden over 1,300 metres. Satin Serenade, a raging favourite. We've got Mr. Miller going around later at a similar price, and they're off and racing now. And Satin Serenade's jumped away reasonably well. Looking for the early lead. Wendell showing very good speed towards the inside, together with She's a Boom on the outer. And they're the joint leaders early from Comanche Chief, followed by Satin Serenade, who races into a clear 4th. Further back to State Room, Albert Palais being snagged back through the field, and the outside of Queen's Gamble. Then Whitehall improving on the fence and 3 lengths away to Power Broker. Wendell shows the way here inside the 800 metres. It's Wendell by a half length on She's a Boom on the hot favourite Satin Serenade. Races into a clear third now from Comanche Chief. 2 off to Whitehall on the inside of Stateroom. Queen's Gamble third last from Albert Palais being reined along. And Power Broker is the last one. Wendell shows the way coming to the turn. From She's a Boom, Satin Serenade waiting for the run to open up now. And there's plenty of room as they turn. Wendell spins the corner by a length and a half on Satin Serenade. Queen's Gamble's quickly on the scene and she pounced up on the outside. Going up the inside, Satin Serenade, but Queen's Gamble's looking really strong and she powers away now. Queen's
13,
Gamble, that's been a win.
14.
She's been knocking on the door and she does it in style
10
today.
and 7.
From Satin Serenade and Albert Palais third, Power Broker running on, then Comanche Chief. Wendell got a stitch. Stateroom well beaten from She's the Boom. Whitehall was last to finish.
And quick and sharply, Queen's Gamble, Tommy Berry, they combine to take out race number 2 there at Warwick Farm. Davo, Queen's Gamble gets away from Canterbury and gets on the board for career win number 1.
Yeah, nice win, wasn't it? And on the home track today, certainly relish those conditions, and away she goes. She's promised a bit, and she goes and does the job nicely today. Satin Serenade, that's a bit of a pop. The first one of the spring, perhaps, Tim. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few more in the coming weeks.
Indeed, and to get back to third position, I think Albert Palais is going to grab that spot with 10, and will. And we're 2 races down Warwick Farm, 7 races
3,
this
7.
afternoon. And I think we've had an upgrade, soft 5 working within Sydney now.
10, 3, 7. So the 13 actually beat the 9.
Metres, 50 seconds away.
That was
Sushi Express now 225.
So the 13 turned out to be really good from that 18 gate. Okay. So that was that part of the story. So we did not consider that gate number 18, but that actually turned out, yes. And even that 7 came in, right? From gate number 20, it is the 5th, but that did. So the 9 got beaten. That 9 got beaten. Why the 9 got beaten? Is because it was climbing the opposite direction, and that is why the 9 got beaten. That is why the 9 got beaten. So what is the result? 13, 14, 10 and 3. 10 and 3. So the 10 did beat the 3, but all of them were on the same. So these two were not there. The 9 got knocked out. But why? We'll figure that out. Anyway, that happened. We did not consider that gate number, but that happened. We'll go to the next 3. Eight and 9 has been scratched. 8 and 9 are not there. So on a 1300 meter, the load was more. Even on a 1300 meter. 1600 meter should not be the case. 8 and 9 has been scratched. 1, 4, 5, 6. So the odds are right. One should win. That's the linear. On a 1600 meter, if JMac fails, then JMac is. We are not even considering what the load value is. Still, the horse is in a winning state. Okay. Still, the horse is in a winning state. Let's, even if we exclude the factor of this, okay, then also the horse is in a winning state. That is the right odd, 1 and 4. 6 probably is not the game. 1, 4. When 5 also is the right odd, then 2 no, 3 no, then 7. Let's check 7. 7 no. In fact, 7 and 5, they are two opposites. So 7 is a 56 on a scale of 57, on the category of 57. And this is a 56. One that is 2.5, 2.5, 1.5. So that will be definitely difficult. The 10 probably is on the 4th line. How it should work. 1, 4, 5, 10. Okay. The odds are right. 1, 4, 5, 10. Now, in what circumstances things can go wrong? In what circumstances things can go wrong? 1, 4, 5, 10. Okay. That is the right odd. 6 probably is not the game. So that's the thing. 10 is on the 4th line. One, if they are on the same. So this is higher. Yeah, 1, 4, 5. This doesn't match. So even if that calculation matches, that both of them are going to be 0.5 on this, but this is higher. So that is the right odd. 1, 4, 5. 6 is not. 6 is probably difficult to negotiate. On 3 and 5, that's probably negotiate. Probably the thing. But if they're lying, let's check if they're lying. Okay, this is something that we need to check, whether they're lying. Are they lying? Looks like no, they are not lying, because their leverage is all-time low. So they're not lying. So the horse is actually low. Okay. In fact, the 10 is higher. In fact, the 10 is higher. This is practically low. But that doesn't match also. It matches here. That doesn't match. That doesn't match. That doesn't match. 0.5. So 7 probably on fifth. The other right, 1, 4, 5, that is how it should work. Even if we do that, that is higher, so that should not be the problem. 1, 4, 5, and the 10 is on the fourth line. Why? Because that's that, and that is that. 1, no, 1, no, 2, no, this, no. This and this borderline, okay. This and this borderline, okay. But this is higher. This is the same thing. Should be that 1, 4, 5, 10. If JMac fails, gate. I'm looking at 4. Yes, the 4 is good. The 4 is good. And you are right this time. I mean, JMac is doing bad things. JMac is doing bad things. On a 1600 meter, if the load value doesn't work, where will it work? I want to know that. If on a 1600 meter, this genius cannot do this, then even if we don't consider that fact, okay, they're all independent in their own ways. So even if we cannot consider that fact, we do not consider that fact, then what happens? So good news for 4, okay? The good news for 4 is it is half handicapped as what JMac is. That's at 3.44. This is at 1.6. So that is that. Okay. This is a lower one. 62. This is a 62. You might have a point, Gate. You might have a point. Even I am kind of a little. So what is the problem is this, that JMac is good, but his dedication and loyalty is towards Mr. Chris Waller. Rest everything he takes very casually. That is big money for him. But rest everything is dicey for. I mean, he's very dicey with all that. And you have a point. The 4 is lower in handicapping. Higher in revised weight. So the 4 can actually beat the 1, though it is a very difficult proposition. So what are the other negatives on 1? Let us focus, since we are looking for negatives on 1. So definitely it doesn't have a breather. Okay, let's check. We had a breather on this. We had a breather on this. So what did JMac do? Now the JMac is also doesn't have a breather. So what is a breather? Breather is basically how are we calculating this? So there are 3 steps of speed. One is from the gate, the second is from the bend, and the third is from the last bend. And the pressure is calculated like that. So generally at the second bend you should have a breather. Okay, the first bend, I mean the gate, when the start, the higher is good. In the midfield you need to have a breather, which is in the green section. Okay, and the third, higher is good, the actual high pressure and low pressure, where we calculate that. Okay, where is the high and where is the low? So in the midsection on a 1600 meter you should have a breather. Breather is where the pressure lies, and if you can hold the horse back and give it a little time to relax. Okay, the higher the breather and then lower the thing at the last pressure. The higher breather, lower last pressure is good. Okay, or the opposite. So those things are minute details. Okay, I keep that thing open because it gives us a little reference on what is happening on this side of the character and the handicapping line. So we can easily hide that, but I keep it open. It gives me the reference. I'm getting old and I need to have the reference where it is coming from and what does it have. So yes, ideally, I mean, Gate, you're right. This is higher, this is lower. But we have to start believing somewhere where the tendency is going to work. So we have got 5 horses on the run. And the 4 is here on the lower. 4 is on 0.5, so 0.5. Here is 1, which is 1. Mathematically, it is difficult to beat on this section. But in practicality, JMAC is in a devastating situation. This is higher, this is lower. Which is right. But the fact also remains that how will it work on a 62? Let's see how that works. It still is that is 8. If this guy manages to destroy this horse, okay, he's got the advantage. He's got everything that is required to win. If he cannot beat the 4, and cannot manage the horse, then
decent break. They backed him and he got the job done at the provincials, and then came to town, was well backed and failed. But it was that day where you had to be fence in run, or if you weren't there, you're basically 3-4 length disadvantage. So I want to be forgiving. I want to see him again here. Blinkers go on, fair a track today, and J-Max sticks. So yeah, we'll see what he's about today. But I just think you got to put the pen through that last run. There were about 3 or 4 really well-backed favourites on the day that all ran basically the same. So that says to me you've got to forgive, because they all went too bad to be true and they all off rails, which clearly wasn't the place to be that day. 4 Deep Pleasures having a really consistent prep. It hasn't had a lot go right. Another one that gets the blinkers on first time. Lloyd rides from the good gate, and that Concordia wind form looks more than acceptable. Mrs. Marie form as well. That horse is airborne at the moment. And I thought was the danger. 6 Namaste's building with every run this prep on the home track here. Gate 1 gets its chance, and 2 United Kingdom might need one more and a little bit further, but he's got a bit of class on his day, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was getting home strongly here at the business end in the small field. But I want to see him again. Columbus gets another opportunity. We'll see where he sits after today.
About a minute away from jump time here, third event, Warwick Farm, over 1,600 metres. The Wednesday racing offer, races 1 to 4. Don't forget Warwick Farm, Sandown and at Ipswich. You can boost your winnings in bonus bets if you find one with your first fixed odds win bet each race. This one over the 1,600 metres. Columbus, $2.50 back out to $2.70 there late. You mentioned Davo was really sharp there first up at Newcastle. What did you like about that effort?
Yeah, his late sectionals were terrific there, Tim, and he's a horse that has promised a lot for a while, and I remember he had that long break, he had some issues, but you go back a while ago when he won at Hawkesbury. I remember J-Mac went out there for the one ride, and he's just always promised to be a really nice horse by done deal, and just returning off that long break, he was well backed and put him to the sword pretty easily. And as soon as the markets went up there at Rose Hill, the second up, they just wanted to back him. He was the only horse they wanted to back, but as I said, it just didn't pan out on the day with the way the track played. He wasn't rails in run. You needed to be there.
Deep Pleasure, best back to beat Columbus, $3.50 to $3 as they move in. Third event at the midweeks in Sydney, Warwick Farm. Let's get to Darren Flindell.
Into slot number 3. And United Kingdom now is the last to move in. Has been spec'd from the $21. Late support for United Kingdom down to 15. Dropping to midweek company, and the load is on. We're ready to go. Gates are back. They're off. United Kingdom was last out and settles in that position. Namaste is ridden up off the inside to lead from John Dory. Deep Pleasure's going forward, and Columbus is happy to drop in for cover. In front of Millie Daloon, Supreme Sovereign, a gap to United Kingdom, and Belle de Tel settles at the tail of the field. Deep Pleasure with the blinkers on, wants the front. And Zach Lloyd takes it to that position at the 1,200 metres from Namaste to a clear second, and racing a little bit keenly in that spot. A gap of 3 further back to John Dory, being jointly joined now by the favourite Columbus going underneath. About 2 lengths off to Millie Daloon on the outside of Supreme Sovereign, a gap to United Kingdom, and Belle de Tel having a first run for Joe Pride is last of all and about 10 lengths off the leader. So Deep Pleasure work to the front here and as a 2-length leader on Namaste as they start the run down the side. Columbus just edging out John Dory, followed by Millie Daloon on the outside of Supreme Sovereign, United Kingdom and Belle de Tel last. 600 to go. No change to the order, and Deep Pleasure with these blinkers on today is making it a good gallop in the lead by 2 on Namaste, who's quickly come off the bridle. McDonald getting vigorous here on the favourite Columbus, and John Dory under immense pressure as they turn. Deep Pleasure has got them all flat to the boards turning. It's Deep Pleasure by 3 lengths on Columbus, Namaste, and then came John Dory further back to Supreme Sovereign.
Believe this
the
guy.
150, and Deep Pleasure is really responding to the riding of Zach Lloyd today. It is well clear and in no danger of defeat. Deep Pleasure, a big winner from Columbus. Supreme Sovereign third, and Belle de Tel rattled home into fourth. Followed by Namaste, John Dory, United Kingdom, and Millie Daloon was last in.
Deep Pleasure finds the front there today with Zach Lloyd's and runs them into the ground. Columbus second, Supreme Sovereign be back in third position. 8th run this preparation, Davo found the front and an informed Zach Lloyd today.
Yeah, nice aggressive ride, wasn't it, Tim? And Yeah, a horse that hasn't had a lot go right this preparation, so change your tactics. Well, changed it in terms of ridden more aggressively with those shades on, and she responds and wins well. Columbus chasing a long way out, but it's a bit disappointing. Maybe wants a bit further, but a little bit plain, really. All considering Supreme Sovereign adds a bit of value to those exotics, but Deep Pleasure deserved that and gets the job done.
3 down. We'll start the quaddy in race number 4 in about 30 minutes' time over the 1100 metres. Scenic Point now into 3:10 for Nash and Joe Pride. It's been the mover.
Man, this was bad. 4-1-10. 4-1-10. We got that, but not in the right order. So it did not have a breather. J-Mac gave it a breather. It did not have a breather, but J-Mac gave it a breather. If we look at the race again, what we will see is J-Mac tried to come from the back, but that was not the horse structure. That is what he tried doing. One, 8, 10, 12. All scratched. 4, 13, 9, and 3. Four, 13, 9, and 3. So again, back to the scene of an 1100 meter. So what are the things that we know? That this is bad. Okay. That load on 1100 meter is bad. That's the first thing that we know. 4, which is the favorite. is not doing well. Okay, it doesn't match also. So first of the thing is that is not great on 1100 meters. Secondly, they are climbing the opposite direction. So those two are like that. That's number one. Number two is 4, which is not doing well. Number 3 is also doesn't match. So we are in trouble. We are in trouble. So, what is happening in this field? Okay, what is happening in this field? So what they have done, let's understand that first. So we are calculating the claim, okay? That is how we get the, how the jockeys are, what kind of a load jockeys have, okay? That's the claim. But at times you can't figure it out. That's when I have decided I'll open it up, because at Eagle Farm, or where we were racing last Saturday, there were some dilemma about how the jockeys are going to be working. Okay. So now let me explain how the thing works. So generally, this is what I have noticed. Things can go wrong. It's horse racing. So, but since we do this, I'll explain how things work. So we have a markup. Okay. We have a markup which is there, but if we have a markup, we also have to have a markdown. So what is the difference between the markup and the markdown? So markup is basically the opposite of markdown, that's definite. But how does that work? So when a horse is marked up, right? When a horse is marked up, that is where we know that those are good horses. Marked down, those are bad horses. Okay? So that's the general theory. But on the contrary, what happens is when we have higher revised weights and we have horses that are going opposite to each other, then we need to have a markdown. Markdown is in like the horse which has been put into a lower grade, and why do we need to find out? Okay, so markup is 13 and 9, which is right. Then for some reason they did not take the 11, which is okay, fair enough. Then the 4, those are all markup. Now somebody has also voted for the 3, which is on the other side. Problem is this, that this race is divided into two major segments. One is this, that there is a tendency of these two horses which are going to be on pace. Rest everybody is on slow. So most of them are on slow. Now in these two horses, they have the same revised weight. If they have the same revised weight, then 13 definitely has the advantage, because this is climbing 2.5 step up. And that's the fact. But if we do the maths, then 2.5 minus 1.5 is 1, 4.5 minus 2.5 is 1.5. So in that case, 9 is higher. Okay. Two, sorry, not 1.5, 2. This is 1.5, this is 2. Okay, so 9 is higher here, but here it is 2.5 climbing, it is 1.5 drop. They are on the same relative weight. Problem is this, that they are both climbing the opposite direction. So far, what has happened? Let's see. The one got beaten, 4 won. Okay. So, and we will face these things here at this particular track because of the geometry of the track, which I explained at the beginning of the stream. It's a triangle shaped track, things go wrong here. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, that's that. Now, what is markdown? Markdown is, what is the reason that horse is not among the markups. And the reason is basically because there is a claim on those horses. Okay? Because there is a claim on those horses. So now what is a claim and how does it work? So the claim, if we add the claim, all right, let's say they did not claim the claim. So claim is basically an allowance given to the jock, which can be raised if they raise. Okay, it is not a mandatory thing, but here they have. So now if we do the calculation, then what happens? This, if the 3 was not claimed, then you add that 3 to 60. So that becomes 63. Okay, and this 3 to 61, this will become 64. Now, there are other rules and regulations on each and every state. Why the claim? Because they did not want it to go to 64 and 63. They wanted to stay within 60. Okay. But now what the problem is? If we look at the markdown, if the claim was not there, the 2 would have beaten the hell out of everybody else. Okay, if that thing was not given, if the claim was not given. What is the claim? Claim is a bad jockey. It's an apprentice job. Okay, so if the claim was not claimed, that 2 with that kind of a performance line would have beaten everybody else. Okay, but they have taken the claim. Now, in that case, what will happen? What does that mean? That means that the trainers are confident enough that without a jock, because of the performance, that horse can win. That is the idea of the trainers. That is what the trainers are thinking. That my horse is a performing horse. It is chasing that. It is one of the highest relative weight. It is carrying one of the highest weights. All that is true. Okay? All that is true. But they claimed, and they are anticipating the fact that this is their thought process, that they will win because of the performance. But that is where also the game of the claim comes in, because those jockeys are going to be making the mistake. So we know 1100 meter that, this and this, they do not work. So 13 and 9 are not in a winning position. That's a problem. These 2 are on claim. 4 is the thing. Okay. Now, if 4 is the odds, I mean the favorite will get there, which means it is going to be playing on pace. So if we think in that line, the 4 is not doing well. Winning is difficult. We have seen that multiple times. In that case, what happens? Plus, it is an all-mare. plus it is an all mare. I don't know what will happen in this kind of a situation. Okay, I don't know, because the 4, which is good, because they are talking like this is going to win, but it is not in a position to win. Okay, 9 cannot win because that is the problem. 13 cannot win is the problem, probably. Okay, then what happens? That 5 becomes a check. Okay, this is a 64 on the second layer, not doing well. This is a 64 on the third layer, on the third category, which has no issues actually. These are low pressure. Okay, the things can go wrong. Things can go wrong in multiple ways. These two are very strong horses. Okay, these two are very strong horses. Now 3 and 2, those are, I mean, mathematically, if we look through the tendency, it is not possible. Okay, if we look through the tendency, it is not possible, because in the tendency we are also calculating that. Okay, so that is not possible. But are we always right about the tendency? No, we are not, because it's a horse race and things go wrong. Geniuses, they make mistakes, like here what happened. Okay, so we are not always right, but the point is this: it doesn't match also. So that's the fact. 4 is in a bad state. 9 and 13 are like that. Okay, those are very steep area to go through. What are the things that are possible? We'll see how that 5 works. Okay, yes. Gate, the 4 got it.
Bubbles Up did look empty late in the recent trial, and as a result, there hasn't been much action about her. Striking Alibi is one of the scratchings. So the fourth here at Warwick Farm, punters have got it down to Scenic Point and Uncertain Glory. We're just waiting on the first of them to move in. The Scenic Point in yellow colours here has certainly been getting attention at the trials. And now with Joe Pride, Nashville Willer is booked for the rider, raced by Grant Bloodstock, Scenic Point. And 240 is the call now. Just keeps getting shorter and shorter in the seconds leading up to the start. Well, we're past start time and waiting on the first runner to move into the gates. Uncertain Glory with Tab has just gone into 320. That's interesting. Been 360 pretty much all day, and in the matter of a minute, it just crunched down from 360 into 320. Now, I'm not sure what the hold-up is here. Runners just continue to mill around behind the gates, although Scenic Point is moving in now. So this is the first leg of the main quaddie. Deep Pleasure was dominant in the previous. Really enjoyed the blinkers on today and was a dominant all-the-way winner. Queen's Gamble was very strong coming from the second half of the field to win the Inglis Extra Bonus Maiden over 1300. And Blessed Eagle won the first by a nose over Saffron Vale. And Profitable wound up third there. So final stages of loading. Zootastic moves in. And we're awaiting now on A Lot to Say. Along with Bubbles Up. Bubbles Up hasn't been much real support here for Bubbles Up. Parked up in gate number 1. Cool Waters moving in. A Lot to Say goes forward as well. So we're getting close to a start now. 2 out of 4 cliffs for the fillies and mares stand by. With the last horse going in, Cool Waters, third up this preparation. All in now, locked and loaded. There's the light. There's some action out wide. A number of runners there lunged at the gates, expecting them to open. And Nash is up there on the favourite Scenic Point. A number of runners sort of lunged forward there, and it seems as though Scenic Point, this very heavily back favourite, was one of them. Is Nash all right? Looks like he's hurt his leg a bit here. Just getting news through from the stewards. Okay, so the vet's going to have a look at Scenic Point, and Nash is sort of just feeling there his right calf as well, so he's feeling some discomfort from the incident there in the gates involving Scenic Point. So stand by. I think this is coming up. So Scenic Point lunged at the gates. Just getting confirmation from the stewards. $3.13. Thanks, Steve. Late scratching Scenic Point. It's out. So the heavily back Scenic Point is out of the race, and the gates are back now. They're off. Cool Waters jump well wide out. Lola's nicely to stride together with Tequila Baby. Uncertain Glory being taken back. And advancing its position is hell of a team with Zootastic in the early stages of the race. Bubbles Up is right behind them in the pink jacket, followed by X Trio. Uncertain Glory settles second last. And A Lot to Say is at the rear of the field. Lowell makes the running now from Cool Waters, and Zootastic goes to third. Then Hell of a Teen, and out deeper there is Tequila Baby in the early stages of the race. Then came Bubbles Up from X Trio. Uncertain Glory's 3 wide towards the rear, but has a back to follow. And A Lot to Say is at the rear of the field, coming around the turn. Lull in front from Cool Waters. Lull has gone full bore. Likewise, Cool Waters the outside. Tequila Baby is sticking on well in third, and a gap to Uncertain Glory. It's now Cool Waters moving up on the outside. Cool Waters takes the lead from Tequila Baby. It's Cool Waters just in front of Tequila Baby, and Cool Waters breaks through today. Cool Waters beat Tequila Baby. Photo for third, Lull and Uncertain Glory. Then came A Lot to Say from Hell of a Teen. Next Trio Bubbles Up, and Zootastic was last to finish.
It'll be 11, 2 and 3. Cool Waters for Nathan Doyle and Ash Morgan. Surprises, a few at to $11. It's going to beat Tequila Baby, and Lull back towards the inside is going to fall into third position. Third up this preparation, Davo, for Nathan Doyle's team, Cool Waters.
Yeah, done a nice job there. Come off a couple of placings at the provincials. Form was.
So what happened? 11. Four was out. So now if we look at what happened, okay. You're right. You're right. You're right, because the entire dynamics changes. Gate. The entire dynamics will change. So now let us look at what happened. So these two came in second and third, okay? 11, 2, 3 and 13. Now what happened? Now what happened? If they did not have the claim, the two would have knocked it out. Okay? If they did not have the claim, the two would have knocked it out. But they had the claim, which means they are not the right jocks. Okay? So now the 5 did not get the 5 was the last. And 11 won. Why? Because they were all put into the same category. And that just went through, okay? Because of these guys. We'll go to 5. Six, 10, 11, 12, 13, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, all scratched. 3, 7, 1, 2. So um, one thing that is something that needs to be so we've been making some uh, decisions which were not right. Okay, so let's forget about this one. This one is over. But here is the fact. The fact is this, that and I want to apologize for this. We've been doing this for some time, and we were making mistakes, and I was also constantly trying to figure out where am I going wrong and how the system is going wrong. So it is rightly calculating the revised weight. Okay, it is rightly calculating the revised weight. So, but what happens when they fall into the category is this, that they always probably has a claim. Okay, so on a general basis, like if you remember what we were doing on the other days, where we were looking at the revised weight, but we were not looking at the claim. In Eagle Farm also, we were not looking at the claim. So one thing is there, it shows in the data. But like, when we look at, what is the drop, what is the DS on this, so when we look at all that, those are all data that we are getting from the entire arithmetic that is going on within this sheet. But I also have these three columns open just to refer. On the other hand, I do not open these two, which is a mistake. I should, but the problem is I don't have enough space to put them on, and that's why they were closed. So now let's understand how the revised weight works. Basically, the revised weight is what is the capability of this. I mean, the revised weight or the relative weight basically is a definition of the benchmark. It is a definition of the benchmark. If we have a benchmark 72, that's the benchmark. Now, does it include the claim? Yes, it does include the claim. So that's where the that's where the claims are working. Okay, you see, you do the maths, you see the revised weight. Okay, so the relative weight. So that's the relative weight, and that's how the claim works. But is it always right? No, but that's a decision which has been made by the trainers. Okay, those are the decisions made by the trainers, and that's where it comes into play. Now let's understand what are we dealing with. So it says 66.5, okay, but the claim is only 1.5, okay. So why is it showing 66.5? Why is it showing 66.5 when the claim is 1.5? So basically, claim is how much you're claiming, and it cannot go below the lowest weight in New South Wales. All right. The claim is how much you're claiming. The claim does not have to be the exact. Okay. This is a choice of the trainer, or this is a choice of the trainer that they want to take or not. If they do, then how much is a choice that they have. For example, in this case, they have taken 1.5. So ideally, the relative weight should be this plus this. Okay, that is the correct thing. But it is showing 66.5. Why? Because there is a scene which is called the drop on the relative weight. So what is that? So 66.5 minus 61 is the drop that you will get here. Okay, that is the relative weight, that is the carrying weight, and this is the drop which is showing here. Now now when that is calculated, it is exactly how we are doing the DICR. All right, it is how we are doing the DICR. So what does the DICR shows? The DICR shows what is the highest weight who is carrying and how high it is from the lowest weight. For in this case, it is 7 kilograms high, 61.54. Okay, I mean, this is 7 steps high, not 7 kilograms. It is 7 steps high. Okay, so 54 is the lowest, which will show 0. Okay, then it is this one, which is 57, which is going to show 3 kilograms above this one. So this is 54, this is 57, 3, this is 57.5, 3.5, this is 57.5, this is also 3.5, this is 58, it will show 4 from 0. This is 58.5, it will show 4.5. 59 will show 5 kilograms from this. Then we have 59, that's 5. Then that is the calculation. So we are doing a reverse calculation on the DICR. So on the net, the drop, we are also doing the reverse calculation. And this is where we can assess what is the exact on the revised or the relative weight. We are doing multiple calculations on this. It is just not one. We just have one open, but that's multiple calculations. Can we go wrong? Yes, we can go wrong. And that is where we check and we redefine, we redo the calculations, we do the mathematics, we try to look for the right tracks to get the right numbers. But the point is this, that the highest revised or the highest relative weight is to be considered as the highest benchmark. Okay. Now, if a highest benchmark is there, that means that will have the highest weight, which has the highest weight, which is right. And here it is the highest weight. It is coming from gate number 12. Now, what is the category and how is it getting into the lowest category? It is because of its leverage. It is what happened in the last few races, what is happening with the commentary, what is happening during the races, and who is riding it, the claim, all that. Okay, so that puts it to the lowest category. So that's why I keep looking at the lower side when we have a horse here with a higher revised weight. Okay, so now the category is up. Okay, 3 is favorite. If we look at the tendency, these two horses are on the opposite direction, the 3 and the 5. They are on the opposite direction. Now, if we look at the tendency and the climb or the drop here, then 3 matches and 1 also matches. 1 is the highest in this thing. Okay, 1 is the highest in the benchmark. So 1 also matches, 3 also matches. Who is in better shape? Who is in a greater shape? Now in this case, 1. Why? Because that is 3 and 2, and they're going opposite, and 1 is 1.5, 0.5, -2. So all the numbers are right for 1. Risk is the claim. But the jockey is not one of the green guys, okay? So the jockey is good. That means he is good in this particular track. So that's where it stands. Can 1 and 3 be a queen? Well, it is a queen, okay? Because that's the largest inner, that's the largest outer, okay? That is the largest inner. So it is always either this, or this and this. Okay. Now, if we look at that, this is huge. Okay, so it will come, but the problem is that there is a claim on this. Now, this claim is not at par with them, which were actually in a state where it did not work. But here, this guy is good, so he will get there. But that's on the lower side. 3 is on the opposite direction. 2 probably not the right arrangement. 0, no. 0.5. So the right the right arrangement is here on that 6-year-old mare, but it's too scary for me to actually believe that the 6-year-old mare is going to win a 1400 meter. But that's that part of the story. So if we do a little understanding where things might go, so this is on the 4th category. Okay, so the 7 is 63, is 64, but that does not match. I mean, very bad actually. 0.5. Here also it will be 0.5. So in that case, what happens? In that case, the 2 is 1. This is 0.5. This is also 0.5. The 3 is the right odd. 3 is the right odd. And 3 is the linear. 3. So now these were 0.5, 0.5. Then we have a 9, which is a 6-year-old mare, very scary. Then we take the benchmark with the claim, which is on a higher side. So we take that and I is on the moon. This 4.5, 4.5 will 14. This 4.5, 4.5. And then 0.5, this guy is no good. See, ideally 3 should win, okay? But, and it's a 1400 meters, JMAC is on board, the load value is right. What should happen is, they're all like that, so, point 0, 0, will become 0. This way we put a 0.5, 7 is point. That is the second linear. So there is one in between. So the one which is in between, this cannot be in between. So the one basically which stands in between is this 6-year-old mare. So 9 will be there in between. That probably is not 8. 9 probably is in between. So 3, 9, 7, 3, 9, 7, or 3, 9. Yeah, we'll take the 9, 7. This is the point. This is on 63, 64, 4.5 times 77 minus 63. 64.5. So we take 397 and 1. Now how do we arrange this? So 3 should win. Okay, 7. I mean, this one is a 6-year-old mare, so my hopes are very low on this, but it is there on the top 4. And 1. So the 1 is the highest benchmark, 1.5. So 0.5. So here should be 3, 1. So 9. Okay, that is what I think. So what is the difference between 2 and 7? Okay, 2 is definitely higher. The room is almost the same. Okay, the room is almost the same. In fact, 2 is a better horse because of the leverage. Okay, but then you have to, I mean, generally, okay, generally what happens is, today we have very small fields, but even if you look at that, okay, you will see what happens. So 11, 2 and 3. Okay, here it is a small field, but if we will talk about this some other day when we have a larger field. Generally the categories are there to compete with each other. Okay, The categories are there to compete with each other. And generally, if one horse in one category will have a tendency right, then the others, they fail. That hits their morale, I think. But that's more or less what I think. It is not important. But the rank is like 3, 1, 7, 9. 3 should win. 1 is the benchmark. 7 has a better room than 2. And that 9 is a 6-year-old mare, but it definitely has a better room than 7. Ideally, the 6-year-old mare can, the 6-year-old mare can actually beat the 7 because of the room, all right? But it's a 6-year-old mare, and that 1 is just coming from gate number 12 is a disadvantage.
So, Sociable, undergoing a vet's examination, number 7, the second pick for the race. All right, it's been cleared. The gates are back and they're off and racing. Island Dream worked well. Set it Crown the King has been ridden up looking for the lead. Mr. Miller's pretty handy and sociable. Is pushing through on the rails with point score going around the field. Island Dream deeper out. A gap then to Masses, followed by Think It's You, It's a Wonder. And Hallowed Halls had dropped back to the tail of the field. The Ruffy point score goes on with it. And point score moves up on the outside. Crown the King to take the lead. Island Dream a handy third. Mr. Miller is next on the outside. Sociable is tugging along on the inside. 2 further back to Masters. Think It's You, It's a Wonder. And Hallowed Hall sees them all. Point score a clear-cut leader by 3/4 to Crown the King. Island Dream third the outside. Then Sociable inside the hot favourite Mr. Miller. And the $1.30 favourite is taking closer order. Mars is trying to jump onto its back, followed by Think It's You. It's a Wonder under lots of pressure. And ditto for Hallowed Hall. Point score leads around the turn. From Island Dream and Mr. Miller strides up on the outside. Sociable gets onto its coattails further back to Marses and Think It's You. Now the button's been pushed here on Mr. Miller and a race is 2 lengths clear. Sociable goes to a clear second. Marses goes to a clear third, but Mr. Miller at $1.30 pounds away and wins as it should. Sociable a clear second. Mars is third and Hallowed Halls ran home into fourth, followed by Think It's You. Further back to It's a Wonder. Then came Island Dream, Crown the King, and the early leader point score weakened to finish at the tail of the field.
3-7-1 home, Mr. Miller.
3-7-1. The 6-year-old mare. 3-7-1-4. 2 did not match. Yeah. 7 matched. 62. We'll go to the next. Gate, I'm sorry, I kept talking. Six. Three and 14 has been scratched. Fourteen is not there. 4985. Oops. Four. One. One. Two. Maybe. So 4 is the right odd. Okay. 4 is the right odd. The room is very less up here. It is very less up here. So what are we expecting? Now here is the drop side of the fact. So the drop side of the fact is the odds are right. Okay, that should happen, and that is how it should happen. It doesn't match up here. Okay, that's 1.5.5. It doesn't match from gate number 11. Here it is a better match, but the point is this, that the 4 is not doing well. The 4 is not doing well. That is an issue. plus it is carrying 119, and this guy is a green guy, which means that he is not meant for this kind of a pressure. It matches here, but it doesn't match 1, 2. These two areas it doesn't match. Also, form line is definitely an issue. 3, 3s. So what will happen in that case? In that case, what happens? We'll see what happens, but it doesn't match. The data matches, the jockey is the issue. All right, it's 1,000 meter. Okay, now 1,000 meter, the jockey is okay. So we are expecting them to make the same mistake. 1,000 meter, the jockey is okay. I'm sorry, I was not looking at that. 1,000 meter, the jockey is okay. They are supposed to make that mistake, and we have to believe that they make that mistake of running front. Okay, they have that tendency of where they will be running front, but that's opposite. This is not running front. We'll see how that ends up. Basically, a mismatch is definitely the form line and the jock. And the jock tendency and the horse tendency. Both are in opposite directions. Those are in opposite directions. These guys, they always try to run front because they are heavy, okay? They are heavy. They think that they will, they will get a lead and then they will give the horse a rest. But the problem is this, that, that backfires and the horse will go out of gas. So that is what their tendency. It is a huge pressure on this horse. That definitely does not match. It's 1,000 meter. He should run front. That is true. But the horse tendency is to run slow. So there is going to be a tussle here. Okay, there is going to be a tussle here on the jock and the horse. The horse will say, no, I will not run. It will say, run, baby, run. So that's where the thing is, but that's where it comes. 2 is there, okay? 2 is that there. It's a mark down. It is there. They've been marked up. There's a mark down. There's a claim. That's why it has been marked down, okay? And those things do not match rightly, okay? The 1.5, very little room to do whatever it wants to do from that side. So in this case, what might happen? Because all that the concern is the health. That is the concern. Pressure, jockey tendency, horse tendency are opposite, okay? So those are the concerned areas. Other than that, it matches. The numbers are in front of us. We can see what is happening. Ideally, it is 491. We'll see how, 419 or 491, something on those lines. 419 or 491. Why 419? Because 4 is higher, 1, then this is lower, but it matches. Okay, 4.5, 3.5 matches 1, 4 does not match, 3.5, 3.5, 0, 0 doesn't match, 0 doesn't match, 0, negative, 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 1, 1.5, 1, 1. So 4.5, and this is 1, and that is also 1, but it is on the opposite direction. But that is the second linear, okay? So the question is here and here, the 9 or the 8. The 9 is a 64, this is a 61. Obviously, it has more advantage. So the 9 is the thing. 419, 2, 56, 57, 65, 65, 10, 57, 65. We'll see how that works. 6, 6, 8, 9, 10. No order. Play wide. 6, 8, 9, 10. 6, 6, 8, 9, 10. 10, 10! Ten is a grandpa. He's older than you, Gate.
It's that nicely for him with good speed up front, and I think he can have last say on what's a relatively fair track there today. So 9, 4, 1 and 5 the numbers. Valalia, I think, is a really nice horse. Good luck to Jake Hull and connections here. He trialled the house down at Rose Hill recently. He's had a lot of issues, this horse. I think he had stress fractures early on and hit his head on the water walker and a few things like that. So they've had some issues with him, but he's very fast, and if he can get rolling and just get into a nice little rhythm, he will be hard to run down. One Generous Harry, I thought was a pretty good winner. Fresh there at Wyong, obviously a deeper race here, but we've seen Cool Waters come out of that and win today already. So if you're looking for a roughie, you could certainly do worse. And 5 Grandstand's a good 1,000-metre horse, probably prefers Ramwick, but gets a good run here off what looks a strong speed and has been luckless on a number of occasions throughout its career. 9, 4, 1 and 5 with the well-backed horse, but wary of Valalie and even Generous Harry with that form being frank today at 18s, you could do worse punts.
Yeah, first one they backed fierce around the $4-5 mark at least, and now into $2.80 and pretty clear favourite now. Valalie's out to closer to $4. Rantan $8.50, same price Monaco and Scalado tops the double figure chances at $12. Not much to tell you there amongst the roughies as well. First up winner will beat a small field, Brad, at Wyong, last time in fierce.
Yeah, blew them away as well. And we had Melanite in that race, who was decent enough. Gambler's a hard horse to catch, sure, but did win by 2.5 with the 58.5 there. So, and it was fresh too at 1,000 metres. So went to Rose Hill after that. Started $3.20 against Banjora, who's I know they've got a big rap on and was luckless in the lead up to those provincial midway qualifiers and final last time. He was luckless in the lead up to that, and then started odds on at Newcastle and beaten by Zing to Me, who's not a bad little 1,000-metre horse. So I think comes back and gets another opportunity to go forward this campaign.
Last couple getting set. Let's get to Warwick Farm with Darren Flindell.
Is on the comeback trail, been trailing the house down. He's no longer favourite though, fierce. He really caught the eye at the Ramwick trials last Friday, is now into $2.80. Valalie out to $3.70. Rantan into $8 and Manukau as well. So we're close now. One more to move in by the looks of it. Gambler. Gambler's about to join the table. Yeah, so fierce. Having only trialled last Friday impressively, he's been really well back to win this. In front of Valalie. Just Awesome resumes today as a gelding, but no market support. So Gambler moves up, all in. Ready now. Gates are back and they're off and racing. Scalado only jumped fairly. Wide out Gambler was fast into stride together with Vallely on the inside going up to join it. Just Awesome's there. Followed by Generous Harry, then Winning Proposal and Fierce right behind them. Further back to Spartus, then Scalado from Bengal, Manukau, Rantan, and 2 lengths away to Warwick's at the tail of the field. Vallely and narrow leader from Generous Harry up on the outside. Just Awesome behind with cover. On the outside, a Winning Proposal. Then came Gambler taken back and Fierce is next. And Schiller looking for way out the fence and finding it now. Into the straight, Vallely shows the way from Generous Harry, Just Awesome. Then Winning Proposal. Fierce is siding a gap now and starting to put itself into the picture, and quickly Fierce went through. Took the lead now and draws 2 lengths clear from Just Awesome, General Harry, and down the outside is Spartus. Rantan late, but that's a lovely return by Fierce. Leading Spartus third. Tight there. Rantan the inside and Manukau wide out. Just Awesome got really tired. Followed then by Scalado running on from Generous Harry, then Bengal. Oryx Vallely got very tired, and Winning Proposal was one of the last to finish.
9-7 fighter for third, and that is really tight, that fighter for third, but it's all feed.
A 4 that all went against. So what happened? Everything went against, okay? So the horse tendency was right, his tendency was wrong. And he cannot handle that. 9, on the other hand, was okay. 9. Then came 7 on here. 59. 64.5. Nine, 7. Five. Now match this. Okay, 9, 7, 5. And 8. Okay, that happened. We'll go to the next. This is the last one today. Three, 4, 9, 10. 3, 4, 9, 10. 14, 15, 17. 14, 15, 17, all scratched. 12, 1, 7, 2. Okay, so the here is what is happening. So the 12 is the favorite, okay? 12 is the linear. It's the same problem as this one, okay? This was on 119, and the guy is here. It was on slow. The guy is on pace. Here it is the same thing, okay? This is slow. It'll get there in some way or the other, but winning probably is difficult, because it basically is firstly they are in the opposite direction, so the opposite direction is kind of dicey, okay? The opposite direction is kind of dicey, because that is when how the jocks are going to play. That's a decision that the jocks will have to make in the field, which is a difficult proposition. So this 12 is the same thing. It's 118. Is it a good horse? It's a fantastic horse. Does it match? No, it doesn't match. Okay. 0.5, -2. Jock is like that, is on the opposite direction. So nothing matches with what should happen. On the other hand, if we look at the other tendency side, the speed side, which is actually, it should be on the speed side, it is larger, definitely. Possible. That's a match. That is also a match. This one is an 8-year-old mare. Then comes the load, which will work on the 3rd or the 4th position. The load will work, but if that's 63 and this is also 63, so that becomes a problem. If that's a 63, this is a 63, both are rated on 63, then that becomes a problem. So then that has the advantage. Now here is a -3, here is a +3, that is 64, and this is a 60. Obviously here is the advantage on 2. So the 2 probably is there, but if we are matching 2 with the rest of the people in this, then the 2 becomes an issue, because then we have this and it doesn't match quite well with the above 2. So then the 2 is a problem from this side. So that's a problem. 13 is a problem. Okay, both of them are a problem. This one is an 8-year-old mare. Then comes this and this, these 2. We'll see how it works, but this is basically on the opposite direction. So every time, this is something that I have noticed. So what happens? So the race is designed. It is designed to go or to take a particular tendency. And how that is designed is by allotting the weights on the horses, okay? They have a tendency which will work. But now the tendency has side effects. What is the side effect? The side effect is this, that if the horse's tendency is to run slow, which is okay, the jockey on 1,000 meter, that is the right way. Okay, these jockeys are supposed to go front. These jockeys will go front. That is supposed to do that. But that's not a front running horse. That is supposed to go slow. So that's a decision making which is going to go wrong. Here, that was not the case. On this guy was also the same. That did not happen. So for the 9 was the safe. Then obviously the top tier horse will come in, which happened. Though it doesn't match, I mean, cannot win, but was there. Here it is the same thing. Okay, so it's a 1200 meter. This is to do with a slow pace. The 12 is to do with a slow pace, which is okay. I mean, firstly, it doesn't match. Okay, that's a 0.5. This is a -2. That doesn't match. Secondly, the pressure doesn't match. They definitely do not match. So everything is dicey here. Okay. And why I'm saying doesn't match. So if you look at the numbers, so it's 0.5, -2, 1.5, -3.5, 1.5, +4. So bad, very bad. On the other hand, if we look at the -1.5, okay, so on a positive 1.5 it is -3.5, on a -1.5 it is 1, -3.5 it is 1.5. So those are like that. Okay, so they don't match. 12, 7, 1, none of them match, but the 12 is the linear, so it will get there in some way or the other. How things might work is what I think it should work. 6, 11, 8, and 5. 6, 11, 8 will get there as the top category. Then comes the question whether it is here on a 64 or is it here on the 30. These two are the same. The match is on 5, not here. But they definitely do not have form lines. We'll see how things work. Eight. Eight is a good horse. Yes, eight is a good horse. And the problem is the six has not won in a long time. It is continuously getting into trouble. But the numbers are aligned today. The numbers are aligned today. If it doesn't win, then it doesn't, but but see how that works, because the 12 is the favorite, okay? It is the linear. Problem is it doesn't match.
Finally draws a gate to be able to posse up a bit closer. I think it's going okay. 5, Silencio, por favor. horse that mixes his form, but when it all goes right for him, he can be ultra impressive as he was at Newcastle 3 ago. He's on the home track here today, just draws wide and going to need a little bit to go right. And Couples Retreat, what you see is what you get with her. She's very well exposed, but she's been racing in Saturday grade back to the midweeks here and on her home track from a low draw. So 12, 11, 5 and 1, clearly with the 12 on top, but giving the 11 a sneaky rough chance, maybe more the place than win, but if you're looking for something punished, you could do worse there.
Yeah, that is Equilibrist. $51 and $9 the place if you want to follow in Dover. Heroic Deed, $3.40 with the tab the open today. Quickly into $3 and late now into $2.50. $6 for Diddle Dumpling. The Little General $6.50, $7.50 Couples Retreat, 10 plus the rest of them. So cheering Heroic Deed. Most of these Davos have established themselves as sort of midweek operators, albeit in solid form, but Heroic Deed with that upside for Nathan Doyle's team.
Yeah, exactly right. And he looks the one with all the upside, doesn't he? He's come back super this preparation. And, yeah, his trials were great. That first up win was terrific. I always think, though, the stable do go naturally better at home. So I'm always a little wary when they come away. And all 3 runs have either been on the Beaumont or the Newcastle track. But just to give you more of an idea of Equilibrius, his late splits were the 5th best of the day 3 starts ago. And then he went to Kembla and was disappointing there, but then he went back to Rose Hill. He had no luck. He's held up the last 150, got too far back, and it was a sneaky run. So 2 of his last 3 runs have been sneaky good, and like I said, he could do worse.
Moving in, the last in Sydney at Warwick Farm today. Let's get to Darren.
Silencio por favor. Not that easy. Yeah, so down to the last few now. Last of the day. $2.50 about Heroic Deed. Heroic Deed in the white Brett V. Been really well backed. Previous winner was well backed. Fierce coming from the second half of the field. Gates are back. They're off now in the last of the day. And looking for the early leader. That's the easy. It's the Little General. Very sharp into stride. The Little General's going to lead by 3. Olivia Twist goes to second. Heroic Deed handy the outside. Then Couples Retreat improving in front of Curability and Diddle Dumpling just drifting back a little bit. A gap to Equilibrius from Royal Air Force. Silencio por favor. And the roughie, Not That Easy's at the tail of the field. The Little General, a 2.5 length leader from Olivia Twist, racing on the outside of Couples Retreat, followed by Curability, parked inside Heroic Deed. 2 further back to Diddle Dumpling. Half the inside to Equilibrius from Royal Air Force. Then Silencio por favor. And Not That Easy's last of all. So the Little General's really humming along in the lead. Olivia Twist is giving a good chase in second. Couples Retreat under pressure. And Heroic Deed is about 4 lengths off the lead. It's the Little General inside the 300 by 3. Now Heroic Deed is starting to let down, and it's coming with a real rush on the outside. The Little General quickly tackled by Heroic Deed. Diddle Dumpling late, but Heroic Deed wins the last. Heroic Deed from Diddle Dumpling. And wide out, Silencio por favor may have nicked third in front of Curability there, and the tiring the Little General, followed by Equilibrius, Couples Retreat, Olivia Twist weakened out, and Not That Easy was the last to finish. Royal Air Force about 3rd last.
And it is back-to-back wins into preparation number 2 for Nathan Doyle's camp. Brad Davidson, Heroic Deed scores at around that 250 mark.
Yeah, and a double for the Doyle camp on the day. He's got some nice horses going through the grades, and this one looks to have a bit of class, doesn't he? He travelled like a...
Okay, so that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We had 7 races. This was the last one, but we'll take the key takeaway today. So, the first one, the odds did not get there. The second one, no. The third one, no. The fourth one, no. The fifth one, 3 actually won. So that was the first. And second. So the key takeaway, never race on a triangle shaped track. These tracks are very dicey. Never race here. They play very bad. There is no other reason. for these kind of tracks to be not on the top 10 or the top 20 tracks in Australia. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody who's been watching this stream from anywhere in the world. It means a lot. Thank you so much for doing that. And I want to thank Gate. Thank you so much for doing that, my friend. Thank you so much for being there. Dow's, thank you so much for being there, my friend. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll see you on Saturday. Till then, have a great day and stay blessed. Bye-bye.